friends, Christine here with another episode for you guys this week. And just recently I was thinking how fun it's going to be to listen to these episodes in like 10 years to see if we were able to predict the future of living and co-living. So I just think that would be so much fun to listen to these in the future. So this week we have two people on the episode actually from Helsinki, Finland. So we have Sjoerd and Huong. They are both with Rond House, and they are currently in ideation and creation. So this episode's a little unique. I know typically I've got founders on and operators that have been in operation for a while, or maybe they've just started, but they're at least started. This one is actually still being created. They're currently in talks with several real estate developers and investors to find the right partner that shares their vision. So they would come in and do the concept and they would actually operate, but they're looking to partner with an actual real estate developer in Finland to pull this off. And we've got their bio below and a basic landing page they'd sent me their pitch deck. And what prompted my attention, I already knew them, but I actually saw a blurb that they had just won. They were a finalist in a contest out there for their co-living project, and they haven't even launched yet. So that's really exciting. Currently there are experiments happening in Helsinki that are around living as a service. But so far the concept is still very, very new there. And so they've got the work of educating people, to make them fully understand what co-living is. And so they both come from an event production background, and community building is a really big aspect of where they find their joy. And you guys are going to see that in this interview. So it was a lot of fun to have both of them on. So enjoy this week's episode. Hi, everybody. It's Christine here with another weekly episode of the Co-Living Code Show, where we bring on operators and developers and investors, anybody that has to do with co-living anywhere in the world. Really excited today because we've got two people on, and we've done this a few times. So this will be, usually the cadence works really well, and it's a lot of fun. But we've got two people actually from Helsinki, Finland, and we haven't had anybody on the show yet from Finland. Co-living, which I know we're going to talk about, really hasn't quite started over there yet, but I know that these two are on a very big mission to make that happen. So I have both on the show, Sjoerd and Huong. They are both from Rond House, and they're actually both with Rond Production House, which is an event planning company in Finland. And they actually put on the Recontech, the real estate construction technology conference that's on every year. It's actually right up against Slush, and I know a lot of our listeners go to Slush. So it's coming up next month. I'll actually be at their conference speaking, really excited about that and excited to bring them on. And let me tell everybody, this show's a little bit unique because they are still in the ideation and formation phase of their co-living concept. So we're going to go really deep into that because, again, I know there's other people are listening that are in the exact same boat around the world where they haven't opened yet. They're still trying to find the real estate developer. They're trying to find investment money. So there we have it. So welcome to the show, both of you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Yes.
Thank you. So let's start. So let's have one of you guys start with, I know that you guys kind of came up with this idea a year ago, right? So why don't we start there?
Yeah.
You want to share or?
You can start it.
Yeah, we actually did production for Recontech last year, and some of the real estate and construction companies came to us. They were like, we really like what you do with community building. Can you do the same for us, for our buildings? And that's where we kind of started with, okay, what does it mean if an event production company becomes a building operator? And then we started thinking about these things, like, how would we like to run a building?
Yeah.
What is our vision of it? And then we stumbled on the co-living concept, and then the whole idea started from there.
Yes.
I love that. So then so it's really, that's actually interesting that real estate developers would be thinking about community, a year ago. With event planning, what are some of the crossovers that you guys see between planning an event and building community?
I think planning event and bringing people together in that sense is all about experiences and sharing with like-minded people. And when you're talking about community building, it's also about sharing with like-minded people, being together with people that you can exchange thoughts with, learn from each other, inspire eeach other. And I guess that's also why the real estate companies were asking an event producer to become an operator.
Yeah, and also like since we with the background in event productions, we really love like about human connections. Whether creating events, we can engage audience, or we can building a community of like-minded people. It could be in a co-working space or in a co-living space. So that is something that we're really passionate about. We like to put a smile on people's face and see like we want to reconnect people and want to bring people together.
Perfect. And Huong, I know that you just participated recently, right? In two different contests, right? And an accelerator. So let's talk about that a little bit.
So I think also when we just start with the idea, having a co-living concept, then both of us got into Founder Institute. So that is the acceleration program for startup. And from there, we start to develop our concept further, and with all the support from mentors and fellows and talking with advisor and even investor. So that's how we start shaping our concept. And for the startup idea contest that I just participate in Berlin, it's really a great opportunity for us to actually bring the co-living concept, talking about that, educate people around the world about what is actually co-living. Because for some people here, they still think that co-living is, something like student dorm. I have to share everything with other people. It's not convenience, or it's like a retirement home. But we want to show them that co-living now, it's totally different than that. It's all about experience. It's all about how you feel, like you want to feel like home and be there with the community.
No, I love that. And I think it's special because I know, again, we have people from all over the world that listen to the show every week, and different parts of the world are moving faster on the co-living movement. Like I know London, the most crowded parts of the world and the most expensive parts of the world, right? So like London, and there's, San Francisco, New York, and LA. And so I think, for where you guys are at in Finland, it's kind of been slow to move there. So I think you guys have a big role in education and kind of, you said it perfectly, like people are paying for experiences over things. So it'll be interesting. So there's in Helsinki, is there any concepts at all there, co-living?
There's things that they call like service-based living, and it's kind of like hotel style living, but they don't really focus on the community aspect of it. So it still like isolated apartments, but then with a lot of services on top. And there are a few like experimenting and launching. I think there's one that is going to launch, but it's not really focusing on community. It's more like convenience and services.
Yeah, and also some quite similar co-living concept is that 5 to 6 people, they rent a house together, but that is small scale, and then they do dinner together. But for us, we're talking about much bigger scale, and also for people like a single person household rather than family type. But yeah.
Perfect. And then how many units, how many beds or units do you guys anticipate?
We hope to get around 100 people living together, and the reason for that is that we feel that, of course, if it's less, then financially it might not completely be viable. If it's going to be a lot more than that, then community management is not really. People feel detached. People don't really know who's living on the first floor if I'm living on the 8th floor. So to keep the balance between business financially viable, but at the same time having that feeling of togetherness.
Yes.
And then are you guys looking for a real estate developer to build from the ground up, or would you take over and repurpose an existing building?
Both.
Yes.
The ones that we're discussing with now mostly are interested in building from the ground up, and actually we're with a few of them looking at different plots here in Helsinki.
Yeah.
But yeah, if there's an existing, there is actually a big problem here in Helsinki with lots of empty office space,
Yes.
and repurposing that to a living space makes total sense. So that is something that we're also open for.
Yeah. True.
And is there any, oh, that's amazing. Because even here in the States, there's talks of that, but every building is zoned specifically for different reasons here in the States. Do you guys have the same problem, or can you easily repurpose an office building to residential?
No, in that sense, the master plan of the plot needs to be changed.
Yes.
And that's why I guess the easier way is to go with a new building. But yeah.
I think that also why they prefer like to build a new development rather than like changing the existing one. But yeah.
Or even if it was an existing residential, right? Then maybe you guys can switch up. But that is harder. I mean, that definitely has its problems too, you know, because you have to convert a lot of stuff sometimes. And then what's your demographic you guys are looking for?
So for the concept, we interview like people from like 25 to 55 years old, and actually all of them are interested in living in the co-living in their own house. But for the because co-living concept is quite new in Finland, so we think that the early adopter will be young people, like from their late 20s to early 30s, for example, international worker or entrepreneur or artists can also live there.
Recent graduates.
Or at the start of their career. But we believe that this is not only for young people, because it could be like, you know, young behavior, like modern citizens.
I think it's about mindset.
Yeah, yes. It's about mindset. It's not about age. Yeah.
One of the terms that we had used a couple of times was young urban professionals, but it's I think that's the early adopters of the idea. And
I love it. No. And I keep hearing mindset more and more, and I love that. So sometimes it's not a demographic, it's a psychographic. It doesn't have to be like an age range. It's just like, what's their mindset? Are they young at heart? So I agree wholeheartedly with that. I love that. Did you guys survey an amount of people about your concept and what they would like and not like? Did you guys do any of that research?
Yeah, we did online surveys.
Plus interviews as well.
Personal, 1-versus-1 interviews. I think we interviewed
hundreds of them. Yeah. And actually, it's really interesting after the interview that before that, I thought that this concept only for young people, because, you know, I like to live there among like-minded people like me. But then after the interview, a lot of young people, they say that they would love to actually live with people who 50 years old. They actually can learn and get inspired, from each other. So it's actually pretty good. And also some family type people, when their kids moving out, so they don't really like to live, in their big house, and they kind of more, want to contribute to the community, live with other young people, and it's really, really nice.
I think for us, one important aspect of it is the lifelong learning. So no matter what generation you are, there's always a way to learn from each other, and you always keep learning. And I think co-living, and through the events and through the activities and through bringing different ages and different experiences together, people can also learn from each other, and therefore continuously improve their how do you say it, how they grow in their lives, and then at the same time, like supporting each other and being there for each other, so elderly can benefit from living with younger people, and vice versa.
Definitely. No, that's definitely true. The intergenerational living, I think we're going to see more and more of that. And I think we're going to see this like bracket of like 25 to 35 of the average age of co-living definitely expand. So I'm very excited to see that happen sooner than later, for sure. So you guys are an event planning and production company. So I'd be amiss if I didn't ask, what kind of events are you guys going to host at your co-living building?
It ranges from cultural to creative activities,
Yes.
workshops, then also outdoor activities where we bring people to the forest together, or we
Mm,
go hiking together, or bike riding together.
yeah.
Um, and then, of course, like inspirational events where people can mix and mingle, but also get inspired by some keynote speakers
Yeah.
or bringing some surprise guests into the building,
Do workshop as well.
workshops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I do the interview, people are really interested to see that, okay, I can actually learn something from the guy live within that building. So one person can actually host a workshop how to cook this or how to do that stuff, and other people can actually, you know, like benefit from that.
Mm.
Definitely. No, definitely. I love that. That's great. Because then it's just sharing talents and hobbies and within the community. And then would you guys do any, would you guys have any effect to the surrounding community of the area?
One big part of the whole building that we've kind of that there is a third space. So the ground floor is open for the neighborhood, is open for the public, and then the first floor would be events and co-working space, and then the floors above that would be for the
Living.
for living.
And then do you guys think it'll be more locals that are co-living together? Or are you guys going to have expats, international residents, or are you guys not sure yet?
Personally, I would like to see it as diverse as possible.
True.
I think in the early stages, it will probably be more expats and more adventurous types.
True.
I don't want to sound too negative, but the Finnish culture is maybe a little bit hesitant, and they can be a bit. They prefer privacy, and they prefer to be on their own, maybe.
Yeah.
So that's. But I think there's more and more younger generation people that would be actually open for it, even here in Finland.
Yeah.
No, I think you're exactly right. Even me being in Oslo a couple of weeks ago, you know, they were saying the same thing in Norway. It's very similar, and they you know, it was hard for them to grasp that. But just like co-working has kind of become more common there, and they enjoy that. It's like, well, it's similar to that, right? So I think you're right. I think the global trend will kind of make its way. You know, if everybody's jumping around the world into these amazing different cities, I think that will start kind of becoming more common. So that will be really exciting to see in the future. So future, that brings me to my next and last question. If you guys fast forward 10 years, where do you guys see co-living in general, like 10 years out?
For me, I see it that people are going to be, it's more and more about experiences. Experience economy and no ownership anymore of apartments. So I think it's going to be more and more about exchanging experiences and exchanging services for each other. And in my vision, at some point, it might even lead up to being free housing for all, or basic housing for all. And then, I think co-living plays an important role in that, because it gives this new ways of coming up with new business models. How do you make money out of a building, or how do you make money out of just walls?
Yeah. And for me, that I think that the key point of co-living is living with the community of like-minded people. So it's about how to say, home, like the house, the apartment is just a physical space for you to live with a community. So what we can envision the co-living concept is that it could be like a global membership that people can actually travel around the world. If people can go to Oslo, also have the co-living house, and then they can actually live with still like-minded community, then every place is home. So it's about community. It's not about the physical space. So if we can reach at that point, like wherever people go, they can find their community, and then they still can feel like home. So I think that is in my points, it's the future of co-living.
That was so well said. I love that. I say the same thing. I want a global members. We're working on global membership here at Kindred. We are working on it very hard because that's something personally I believe very strongly. And I agree. Home is what you make of it, and it's the people you surround yourself with. It's not the actual building and roof and bed, right? That's not as important when people realize it. So that is so perfect. I was just so excited to see you guys as a finalist. You know, I think I saw it on LinkedIn or something. I'm like, oh my gosh, their concept was a finalist in that contest. Like, this is amazing, you know, and you guys haven't even launched yet. So if there are any real estate developers listening, watching the show, you know, definitely reach out to them. They were kind enough to share their deck with me. I looked at it. It's just an incredible concept. Really rooting for you guys. And thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Really great to talk to you.
Same here. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you so much for checking out today's episode. If you want to learn more about co-living, you could check out my book on Amazon, The Co-Living Code. And of course, if you're looking for the perfect software to power your co-living concept, check out kindred.io, KNDRD.io. Thanks. And a quick thank you to SPX Agency for all of the graphics, animation, and design on our YouTube channel.